Meet Mary, a 7-year-old child with an unparalleled gift for mathematics. Her brilliance defies her age and sets her apart from the world around her. But when life takes an unexpected turn, her uncle, Frank Adler, faces a challenging battle to secure custody and protect the gifted heart he holds so dear. Get ready to be inspired as we delve into this heartwarming tale of love, resilience, and the pursuit of brilliance. The story begins with Frank Adler, who prepares Mary for her first day of school. However, Mary is upset with her outfit and she doesn't want to go to school. They both reside in a small house with their one-eyed cat, Fred. Eventually, Frank accompanies Mary to the bus stop and bids her bye after asking to try to be a kid. Once she leaves, his neighbor Roberta spots him and follows him back into his home. Roberta remarks that he shouldn't have sent her to school, insists that Frank must take action for Mary's sake, or he might lose her. Meanwhile, Mary starts her first grade math class taught by Miss Bonnie Stevenson. Miss Stevenson poses basic math questions to the class, but Mary is dissatisfied as she's well-versed in more advanced math concepts. She independently solves a multiplication problem and even provides the square root of the number. Bonnie is so surprised that she can't even utter a word. Soon, Principal Davis enters the class, and as soon as she starts introducing herself, Mary loudly demands that she call Frank to get her out of the class. After school, Frank picks up Mary, and Bonnie hurries outside to catch him and discuss Mary's remarkable math skills. Frank reveals that Mary learned those via Trachtenberg method, which enabled her to memorize equations and arithmetic computations. Intrigued, Bonnie decides to research the Trachtenberg method to learn more about it. During her search, she also looks into Mary's mother, Diane, who was a brilliant mathematician until she tragically took her own life when Mary was just 6 months old. Frank treats Mary to a day at the beach on a boat, taking the opportunity to discuss with her why yelling at the principal was not acceptable. Mary seems to display remorse for her actions. Later, Frank goes to his regular Friday night bar, where to his surprise, Bonnie shows up to confront him about the things he didn't fully disclose regarding Mary's situation. Frank opens up about how Diane came to him one night, but he had no idea about her eventual decision. He found Diane on the bathroom floor, and since then, he has been taking care of Mary. While on the school bus, Mary spots her classmate Justin carrying an impressive zoo diorama, which she finds much better than her own. Sadly, another student named Ricky deliberately trips Justin, causing the diorama to break, and he proceeds to mock Justin in front of everyone. Unable to tolerate Ricky's cruel behavior, Mary shouts at him, and when Ricky challenges her, Mary reacts impulsively by grabbing a textbook from another kid and hitting Ricky in the face, resulting in a broken nose. Frank is called in to address the incident after it occurs. Principal Davis contemplates the possibility of expelling Mary, but an alternative solution emerges. Davis suggests granting Mary a scholarship to attend the Oaks Academy for Gifted Education, recognizing her exceptional intellect and believing it might be a more suitable environment for her. However, Frank declines the offer, firmly believing that Mary should have a normal education and childhood. The principal then reaches out to Evelyn, Frank's mother and Mary's grandmother. In the following days, Mary apologizes to her class for her violent outburst towards Ricky. In the same breath, she praises Justin's excellent diorama, prompting the class to applaud his work. Unexpectedly, Frank's estranged mother, Evelyn, pays them a visit. Evelyn presents Mary with a laptop as a gift but takes the opportunity to criticize Frank's living arrangements and Mary's current form of education. This doesn't surprise Frank, as he knows Evelyn's overbearing nature. She claims to be looking out for Mary's best interests and questions what Mary's late mother, Diane, would think of their current lifestyle. Evelyn expresses a desire to take custody of Mary and provide her with the best education possible to maximize her potential. This disagreement escalates into a custody battle, with Evelyn represented by her lawyer, Aubrey Highsmith, while Frank is supported by his lawyer, Greg Cullen. Highsmith presents the argument that Frank gained custody of Mary unlawfully, while Cullen defends Frank's living conditions. Eventually, an agreement is reached, stipulating that Frank and Mary will be subject to check-ins and Evelyn will have designated visitation time with Mary. One evening, Frank entrusts Mary to Roberta's care while he goes out for drinks with Bonnie. Over the course of the night, Frank and Bonnie end up in a romantic encounter, though Bonnie initially hesitates. The next morning, as Bonnie is wrapped in a bedsheet, Mary unexpectedly visits her house, catching them in an awkward situation. Embarrassed, Bonnie leaves hastily. Frank scolds Mary for leaving Roberta's house without permission, and Mary starts to believe that her presence prevents Frank from having a personal life. Evelyn takes Mary to Boston, where she shares pictures of Diane and recounts her research on the Navier-Stokes problem, which had been Diane's life's work. Soon, Evelyn introduces Mary to her colleague, Seymour Shanklin, who shows her an equation he has been attempting to solve. Mary appears confused by Shanklin's work, but he dismisses her understanding as merely lacking at her young age. However, as Evelyn takes Mary away, she asserts that she was puzzled because Shanklin's equation was incorrect. Later, Mary returns and successfully solves the equation herself. Meanwhile, back in Tampa, Frank and Bonnie continue to see each other. Later, Mary is visited by a child psychiatrist appointed by court. Pat learns significant details about Mary's life, including the fact that she has no friends her age and considers Roberta her closest companion. Pat becomes concerned when Mary mentions that she and Roberta watch UFC fights together every week. During the next court hearing, Bradley Pollard, Mary's biological father, takes the stand to testify in favor of Evelyn. Cullen rigorously questions Bradley about his lack of involvement in Mary's life, highlighting that he doesn't even know her middle name. Ultimately, the judge rules against granting Bradley any custody rights. Upon learning that her father was present but chose not to visit her, Mary breaks down in tears, hurt by his absence. In an attempt to lift Mary's spirits, Frank takes her to the hospital to witness the joyous gathering of a family awaiting the birth of a new child. As the family cheers over the arrival of a baby boy, Frank shares with Mary that a similar celebration occurred when she was born, and it was he who stepped out to deliver the happy news. Subsequently, both Frank and Evelyn return to court. Highsmith subjects Frank to intense questioning during his testimony, delving into his current occupation of freelance boat repairs despite his previous position as an assistant professor at Boston University. Additionally, Highsmith brings up Frank's past arrest for assault, attempting to argue that he is hindering Mary's potential for a successful future. In response, Cullen challenges Evelyn regarding the circumstances surrounding Diane's passing. Following these proceedings, Cullen visits Frank's home and discloses that he has reached an agreement with the judge. The proposal suggests placing Mary in foster care until the age of 12, at which point she would have the autonomy to decide where she wants to live. This deal is made out of concern that they might lose the case, leading to Frank potentially losing full custody of Mary. Cullen advises Frank to seriously consider accepting the agreement. Frank faces the heart-wrenching task of leaving Mary with the foster parents, who seem to provide a comfortable and caring home. Their goodbye is tearful, with Mary pleading for Frank not to leave her. Despite the distressing scene of Mary crying and screaming for him, Frank has no choice but to depart. However, when he attempts to visit Mary later, the foster father informs him that she doesn't want to see him. Meanwhile, Bonnie discovers a missing cat flyer for Fred, their one-eyed cat. She alerts Frank about it and he reaches out to the animal shelter, where they manage to retrieve Fred along with 2 additional cats. It is revealed that Mary's foster parents have left the cat for adoption. he finds out from the front desk at the shelter that the cat was brought there due to allergy issues. Knowing it's Evelyn who's allergic to cats, he makes a quick stop at his place and then rushes to the foster family's home to confront Evelyn. Determined to reclaim custody of Mary, Frank visits the foster home and learns that Evelyn is staying there, accompanied by 2 tutors for Mary's education. Although Mary is initially angry to see Frank, she eventually breaks down and embraces him. Frank then confronts Evelyn, presenting her with something she was unaware of before Diane's completed work on the Navier-Stokes problem. Evelyn doubts its authenticity, believing that Diane would have wanted the work published promptly. Frank reveals that Diane had actually requested the work not be published until after Evelyn's death, which deeply affects her. Frank proposes that he will have the work published on the condition that Evelyn relinquishes custody of Mary to him. Otherwise, the work will remain unpublished until Evelyn passes away. With this ultimatum, Frank departs, leaving Evelyn in tears. In her distress, she reaches out to Shankland. Finally, Mary is back home with Frank and has started attending afternoon college courses. Frank picks her up and takes her to the park to join Bonnie and her fellow students. As always, we want to hear from you, so be sure to share your thoughts in the comments section below. And if you haven't already, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss any video.